Hello. This presentation will cover how to submit a budget to be heard at a UFB meeting. There will be a lot of information that is covered in this presentation. However, all information can be found on UFB's Campus Link page in our Funding Facts document. UFB Funding Facts is an important document that contains criteria by which UFB allocates funds. You should read it and look back at it before you submit a budget. This document is found on the UFB Campus Link page in the Documents section. We typically update our criteria at least once a year, so it is important to review our funding facts frequently to stay up to date on all criteria and any changes that we've made. All budgets must be submitted through Campus Link. In the upcoming minutes, I will take you through the process of how to submit budget requests. The first step in a budget request will be for you to visit campuslink.uc.edu. Then, in the top right corner, click on this blue Sign In button and sign in using your UC account. Now, find the organization that you are going to submit a budget request for. For this example, I will be using UFB. In the top right corner, you will see a Manage Organization button. Click this button and a new tab of your organization will open. Now in this tab, click on the hamburger icon in the top left. Next, in this side panel, click on the Finance button. Once you are here, click on Create Request and then Create Budget Request. Once you do this, scroll down and select the hyperlinked UFB budget request. Now that you are here, insert a title and description of your budget and hit Next. On the top of this page, you will be able to find important deadlines, resources, and contact information for your assistants. Now you'll insert a budget title, period, and category, and hit Next. Now, in this portion, fill in all the required fields. You should select these boxes based on your own event. For our purposes, I'm going to select that I have a paid performer. Once you have filled out all of the required information, click Next. And on this slide, you will fill out all of this documentation, including the description, purpose, and agenda. Once again, once you've filled out all of this information, click Next. And the next couple of sections will tell you about the documentation that you will need for this budget to be heard. Read this information carefully and have this documentation ready. Next, you will go to the appropriate budget section and add a line item. You should select what you are requesting funding for. At the bottom, there is a place for you to include your supporting documentation. If you have more than one piece of documentation, feel free to include it in an additional line item with a dollar amount of 0. Once you have added all of the line items that you would like, you are ready to submit a budget. Each line item value you enter into the budget must be supported to the cent by appropriate documentation. If provided documentation shows a lower amount than that requested, the budget will be cut to match the documentation. In some cases, line items will be increased to match documentation, but a student representative has to be at the UFB meeting for this to happen. Documentation should be uploaded to the budget and labeled as indicated in the budget submission guide. Examples of proper documentation can be found in the UFB Funding Facts document. All documentation must be submitted via Campus Link unless otherwise requested by a board member. Now we'll review the budget submission process. Work to submit your budget to be heard at least 14 days prior to your event. During this time, you can visit UFB members in office hours to review your budget and see if you are missing any documentation. We will hear your budget at a UFB meeting and encourage a member of your group to come answer any questions we have regarding your budget. If approved, follow the email from us with the next steps to ensure you have a great event. After your event, complete the required assessment. An assessment must be completed no later than the final day of the month after the month in which the event ended. For example, if your event ended on October 12th, you would have until November 30th to complete the assessment. The link to the assessment is in the email you receive with the next steps after your approval of funding. Funds are temporarily frozen for organizations that do not submit the assessment in time. If your budget gets denied or you need additional funding, you can file for an appeal. There are two types of appeals: an appeal of a UFB decision and an appeal for additional funding. All documentation and budgets should be submitted for the appeal by the appropriate deadline. See the UFB funding facts for more information about appeals. This concludes the second part of UFB's reset process. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to visit us in office hours or email us.